G'day. Back. Guitar number 4. Well, guitar number 4 in the line of guitars where I've still kept them. Telecaster came first, then the SG, then the 355. And for years, my younger brother Graham, had been saying to me, Johnny, you've got to get an acoustic guitar. You need an acoustic guitar. I guess he'd always sat around the house watching me write or seeing me write on an electric guitar, whether it be plugged in or just sitting on the sofa writing. It was always with an idea of the electric guitar had the power, and you would take these ideas in to a rehearsal room with drummers and bass players and use that volume. And that was the idea that I had of writing up until I bought this guitar. This is a 1972 Gibson SJ Deluxe, made in Kalamazoo. Yeah, and it really was my brother's urging for me to get an acoustic guitar, because at the time, I think it was around 97 or 98 when I bought this guitar, I really was still focused on, that electricity thing, electric guitars. He had our father's old. There was always acoustic guitars laying around the house. I didn't very rarely. I wouldn't pick them up too often. He would more than me, and he had my father's old Epiphone acoustic, and he was, like I said, he was the one urging me to get this. So I bought this again at Guitar Crazy in Coogee off of Charlie. And he gave me a really great price, because I had gone in there maybe the week before, or with a few days before. I took a cousin of mine in there because he wanted to buy an acoustic guitar, and they actually had 2 of these sitting on the wall. His is a slightly different color, but basically the same year. And he bought the other one. He didn't want to buy this because this had a busted headstock. I played them both, and to be honest, I actually thought this one was better, and I actually said to my cousin, I think this is a better guitar, but it does have a broken headstock. So he went with the one that didn't have a broken headstock, but they're probably very similar. Very similar. His is certainly in better condition. Anyway, Charlie gave me a great deal on this because I had taken my cousin in there to buy the one the week before or something like that. So got this, I think, for around $1,200 or something like that. At the time, I think it was a pretty good deal. And with hindsight, look, I own a lot of Gibson guitars, and they're all old Gibson guitars. But I will say this, I think that Gibson is a pretty fucking shithouse company. And I doubt very much, outside the custom shop models, that they've made good guitars since the late 70s and the early 80s, at least my idea of a good guitar, or consistently good guitars. I think the whole idea of Gibson coming up with this custom shop fucking bullshit is to say that, hey, our regular guitars that used to be really fucking great all the time in the 60s and 70s are now not so great, but we still do make good ones like that, but you're going to have to spend a little bit more because they're called a custom shop model. Fuck, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking through my ass, but all I know is that it sounds like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo to me. It's just another fucking selling point for something that should be, you pay enough for these kind of guitars that they should be fucking pretty accurate and pretty good. Anyway, this is a Gibson acoustic, and with hindsight, if I knew now, or if I knew what I knew 10 or 15 years ago even, I probably would have spent half the money on a nice Maton from the 70s, or even better, a great Guild or something acoustic from the 70s, because I actually think they're better guitars. There's nothing wrong with this guitar. It's my guitar. It serves me really well. It voices my ideas really well, so it's I have an attachment to it. But like I said, with hindsight, I probably would have got a nice old Maton, an Australian-made Maton, or a nice old Guild. But acoustic guitars. So when I finally got this, I thought, okay, I sat down and I hadn't really played acoustic guitars that much at all, to be honest. So the idea was to start sort of writing with this thing in my hands as opposed to the electric guitars in my hand. At the time, and I still am, like a huge... I love this song by... that was the theme song for the movie Kelly's Heroes by the Mike Curb Corporation or something. Anyway, the song's called Burning Bridges, and my idea at the time was like, okay, like, need to write something a little bit more acoustic-y, you know what I mean? Like, thinking the acoustic guitar can write rockers just as well as anything, you know what I mean? You don't have to write them on electric guitar, you can write on an acoustic, which I'll explain later. But I thought, what's the easiest way to come up with the first sort of thing that I've written on an acoustic guitar? And I thought, let me pinch the idea from Burning Bridges, which was this song here. Friends all tried to warn me, but I held my head up high. They all tried to warn me, but I only passed them by. They all tried to tell me, but I guess I didn't care. Turned my back and left them standing there. All the burning bridges that have fallen after me, all the lonely feelings and the burning memories. Every town I left behind, each time I closed the door, burning bridges lost forevermore. So I thought I'd take that idea and write my own. So you'll either hear or not hear the similarities. So the first one I wrote in acoustic guitar was this one. So that was my idea, just to borrow someone else's idea and twist it around a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I still love that song, Burning Bridges. I listen to it a lot. It's one of those songs that has been with me since I was a child, since I think when I first seen the movie in the 70s or something like that when I was a kid. Like I just loved the song, and I've always owned the movie on VHS and blah, blah, blah. I'm rambling on again here. But this song, this guitar certainly changed the way that I wrote things, and was responsible for, a bunch of different things on the sort of last Asteroid B612 record. that it can. An acoustic guitar doesn't need to write folk songs and country songs. It can write rockers. I mean, that song started out, maybe even started out on my dad's old Epiphone, which my brother owned, and moved on to this before it moved on to an electric guitar. But it certainly was written in and around that key, as opposed to where it ended up, which is somewhere up here on the electric guitar, somewhere near like... Changed the key so it worked different on the electric guitar, but yeah, the acoustic guitar doesn't necessarily just have to write country songs, but certainly the first Secrets record, most of the songs were written based around an acoustic guitar, like baby, won't you come on? Girl, why don't you come on home, 'cause I'm ready. Find time, pick up your phone. Girl, why don't you pick up the phone, 'cause I'm ready. Pretty girl, I'm ready. You got me hoping I'm trying to be your man. Hopes and dreams are buried in the ground. You should have known we'd never pack and leave this town. Lonely day she cried, with nothing left to hide. Down, 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 down the cookie road. Ride through the lonely streets, buried in the snow. Some would say we tried, you and I know that's a lie. Yeah, a lot, if not all of the first Secrets record was written on this, and it's basically what I use now to write this guitar. Again, this is a really beautiful guitar, but I don't necessarily think that Gibson make great acoustic guitars, but this one works for me, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of really great ones out there as well, but this is not a very good infomercial for Gibson, and it seems like a pretty strange thing for me to say when these walls are covered in what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 Gibsons, but they're all pre-74, you know, they're 60s, and, you know, the lap steel over here is a 48. Anyway, I'm not going to keep fucking putting shit on Gibson, but I'd just as soon own a nice Maiden or a Guild, but this is a nice guitar and it works for me. And it certainly changed the way that I wrote songs. There's a bunch of people that are big fans of Asteroid B612 that probably would blame the acoustic guitar for changing the way that I write songs, because they didn't sort of seem to like Johnny Casino stuff as much as they liked Asteroid B612 stuff. But fucking hell, like I'm not going to stand around with my feet in quicksand. I'm not getting rich off of this, so as I said in the previous video, you got to turn yourself on before you can turn anyone else on. And the acoustic guitar was now turning me on, and the way that it helped me write songs and structure songs, and rhythmically too with this hand. And it's a far more percussive instrument than the electric guitar, I find. You know what I mean? Like the rhythm of it is really effective. helped me kind of hear more what I wanted to hear from a drummer or a bass player as well by writing on an acoustic guitar. I found when I was writing on an electric guitar, I didn't care as much what the bass guitar was doing, so long as it was playing the correct notes. But once I started writing on the acoustic guitar, I heard that I didn't want the bass to just be going. I didn't want that anymore. I wanted it with more rhythm, because the acoustic guitar spoke to me with more rhythm. But what else is it responsible for? Certainly. It's our time to die. That is all that I see. And our chance to fly is lost on the breeze. And together we were so long, choking each other with time. So I hit the ground running, hit the ground running. I think that's a pretty obvious one, that was written based around an acoustic guitar. I think that what Chris Wilson and Mick Evans did with the rhythm of that song, you can really hear that they really nailed it when it came to the rhythm of the song, based on a sort of sea shanty sort of rhythm, but with more physical sort of rock and roll band power. But again, it wasn't just sort of country-ish or folk or slower or softer songs. I mean, Only a Fool was written on this guitar as well. Tears in a Town She Calls Home was pretty much written while me and Mayra were spending the best part of 2 months in Palencia. And I guess now if you would listen to the song when it was recorded, you mightn't hear that it was an acoustic thing, but it was certainly started out as an acoustic song. Okay to be proud of things that you do, or say that. I think that song is one of the sort of nicest pieces of music that I seem to have come up with, and I kind of lave it around a lot with just the capo on here at the second. different notes that I could use. Of course, a lot of it based around, you know, the Birds or Norwegian Wood by the Beatles or something like that. Those. I don't know. They're all related, I guess. Neil Young and the use of the acoustic and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the thing that I like to write on the most now, and I'm still writing. Still pick up the electric guitar and plug it in, and you know what I mean. Check out the physical side of the chords and stuff like that as well. But it's the acoustic guitar that really seems to turn me on. Where will you find another girl to live in chains in this world? When your love is strange and you play every game, where will you find another girl? Times and crimes you never hide. Coward will die 1,000 times. As you fly blind, in the mirror you will find the coward will die 1,000 times. So that's something that I wrote recently on an acoustic guitar, but when it come time to record it, it ended up more like. Where will you find another girl to live in chains in this world? So things can change, yeah, but I don't know, what else do I have to say about the acoustic guitar? It's the fourth guitar I bought it from Charlie, who's no longer with us. I've probably said that, I'm probably repeating myself. Maybe I don't have enough interesting stuff to say about this guitar, but I have owned it for more than 20 years, and I think there's much better acoustic guitars out there, but this one's mine, and it's faithful to me, and it's done the right thing. Sunrise, sunset. Since the beginning, well, it hasn't changed yet. People fly high, begin to lose sight. You can't see that clearly with your reflection. It's high time that you find the same people that you use on your way up. You might meet up on your way on this. Not sure if that was interesting or not, but it is what it is. I hope you're making the best of what is mostly a bad moment for people, but keep your head up and try to be as positive as you can. And I'll see if I've got any more interesting tales about some of these other guitars that I own here. Certainly a good story about the 335 from '68. But I'll leave that for another day. Be well. What does Ringo say? Peace and love, no? Or does he say make love not war? I don't know. But take care, yeah? Cut.